Hi everyone, my name is Pei. I'm a non-traditional pre-med student currently studying for her MCAT. Right now, I'm in between phase 2 and phase 3, the part where motivation fades away and endurance becomes the driving factor. My days are filled with daily question sets, long review sessions where I comb through every mistake, and a full-length exam almost every week. It's structured, repetitive, and mentally exhausting in a way that slowly builds even when you don't realize it's happening. And then there's CARS. If you're studying for the MCAT, then you know what I mean. CARS was the section that made me question myself the most. No matter how much effort I put in, it always felt confusing and mentally exhausting. Some days I'll finish a passage and barely remember anything that I read. Not because I didn't care, but because the pressure made it harder for me to focus. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. Jack Weston daily passages, AAMC CARS, showing up consistently. Still, something wasn't clicking. I wanted to improve not just my skill, but how CARS felt. Less draining and more sustainable. And that's when I found CARSBooster. I was skeptical at first. I never thought that MCAT prepping, especially CARS, could be turned into a game. Like, what? But at a time when studying felt so heavy, trying something different felt like a relief. What surprised me the most was how much it shifted my mindset. Here's a side-by-side of my score a month ago and my score today. CARSBooster is a game-based platform designed specifically for the CARS section. And instead of throwing full passages at you, it breaks the skills down intentionally. There are 4 games focused on main idea, vocabulary, reading speed, and mini CARS passages. For the first time in a while, I feel like I was strengthening specific skills rather than just measuring my failures. It became something I could approach with a little more confidence and a lot less fear. That shift, though subtle, made my study days feel lighter and reminded me why I started this journey in the first place. At this stage in my MCAT journey, I genuinely believe that learning doesn't always have to feel punishing to be effective. If anything, engagement and consistency matter just as much. And honestly, I can't help but think that every section of the MCAT could benefit from being turned into a game, like glycolysis. This video is all about why I love using CARSBooster and how it's helped me stay engaged. I'll walk through the platform, the games, the practice tools, the analytics, and explain why the game-like structure makes such a big difference in my study. When I first started studying for CARS, I felt completely overwhelmed. There was so much to keep track of. Vocabulary, main ideas, author's tone, how each paragraph connected to the next. It felt like I had to juggle everything at once, and on most days, it's just too much. I honestly dreaded doing CARS every single day, even when I knew how important it was. And that's why CARSBooster is such a game changer for me. It genuinely feels like a gaming platform, built specifically for CARS practice. I usually use it for about 20 to 30 minutes a day, and what I love most is how simple and non-overwhelming it feels. I can set my own pace, focus on one skill at a time, and sometimes I honestly forget I'm even studying because it's actually fun. That shift alone made it easier for me to stay consistent. As I spent more time on the platform, I started noticing what works best for me. My favorite games quickly became main idea and speed reading, not because they were easy, but because they challenged the exact areas I was struggling with, staying focused and understanding what mattered in a passage. The speed reading game is usually how I warm up. You're timed while reading a passage and then answering questions, and at first it made me anxious. I felt rushed and unsure, but over time, it trained me to stop overthinking every sentence and trust my ability to understand what I was reading on the first try. That confidence slowly carried over into my regular CARS practice too. I will say I was definitely surprised the first time I used it, because once the clock hits 0, you have to start reading right away or the words disappear. The vocabulary game was eye-opening in a different way. Instead of memorizing definitions, you're asked to figure out what the author meant by a word based on how it's used in context. That reminder that meaning comes from tone, intentions, and surrounding ideas honestly changed how I approach these questions. But the main idea game quickly became my favorite. Finding the main idea used to feel impossible. Every answer choice sounded both right and wrong at the same time. One habit that completely changed my approach was reviewing the answer choices before reading the passage. Knowing my options gave my reading direction. I wasn't reading aimlessly anymore. I had a purpose. When I first started, I missed these questions constantly. But over time, I learned how to narrow my answers and eliminate choices that were too extreme, too broad, or too narrow. Now, I catch myself using the same strategy in psychology and sociology passages, and even discretes, without thinking twice. The final game brings everything together through mini passages, where all the skills, speed, vocabulary, and context, and main idea come together. It felt intimidating at first, but it also made my progress feel real. I wasn't just practicing cards anymore. I was building reading strategies that carried over into other sections of the MCAT. That's what surprised me the most. These weren't just card tricks. They became tools. Tools I could with me across the entire exam. Realizing that something I once struggled with so deeply could turn to a strength, quietly rebuilding my confidence in a way I didn't expect. One last thing I want to highlight is the practice section. Having daily CARS passages, full practice tests, and extra practice all in one place made studying feel more organized and less overwhelming. There's even a section that answers common MCAT and CARS questions, which is really reassuring during prep. I also love the leveling system. Wanting to level up before stopping kept me motivated, and over time, it taught me how to pace myself and study more intentionally instead of rushing just to get through practice. Looking back, cars no longer feel like something I dread. It feels manageable, and the shift from fear to confidence has made all of the difference. CARSBooster has honestly helped me retain CARS materials so much better, and it's completely changed the way I approach this section. Once I started treating it like a game, earning points, leveling up, and tracking my progress, I felt way more engaged and motivated to keep going. If you've been struggling to stay focused or just want CARS section to be less overwhelming, I definitely recommend checking out CARSBooster. It might make this section so much more enjoyable for you too. It's definitely been a big help for me, and I'm going to keep using it until test day. I've added a link in my description in case you want to check it out. Also, let me know if you want an updated video at the end of my membership or after I take my MCAT.